Hi, everybody. This is Linda. Well, today is another day of Let's Talk Houseplants. This beauty that I have in my lap is one that I got at Home Depot. And those of you who watch my bedtime Bible chat know the story behind this plant. I won't go into it because I don't want this to be a real long video, and I've got two miracles, and if I go through both of them, this will be a long video. But this plant here is a prayer plant. It's a Calathea medallion. And one thing I'm learning about these Calathea prayer plants is that they have got to have humidity. I have a small one that is a Rosa Picta. When we bought it, as I showed y'all in one of the previous videos, it had a lot of crispy edges. But it's gotten much worse because I brought it in here in the living room. And my bedroom has anywhere from 50 to 70% humidity. In here, it only gets what's outside, and then if the sun is shining through this window, then it's lessened a great deal. So it's not looking good at all. I'm hoping I can save it. That was my stupidity. But you live and learn, so we got to keep this one in a humid location. This one is very precious to me because of the story behind it. Now, throughout this video, I want to bring up some do not do information. We'll start first with do not transplant your plants or repot your plants when you bring them home, when you first buy them, because they have to get used to their new location. And if you repot them, then they have to get used to all that as well as their new location. And that doesn't go over too well sometimes, depending on how strong the plant is. Also, the plant oftentimes is not well rooted. And when you take it out of the pot, you're going to lose a lot of the soil and maybe even damage what little teeny roots there are. Yeah, we should check to see if they're root bound, but just check the bottom of the pot because you can find out by looking to see if, looking to see if, I got it. If there are any roots coming out of the bottom. Are there, Jamie?
I don't see anything really.
Okay, so I don't have to disturb this plant by taking it out of its pot. Just check the holes in the bottom of the pot to see if there's anything coming out of it. Because these plants, some of these plants are very finicky, like this one. And if you take it out of its pot just to check its roots, you might find that it didn't like it too well. So check the roots by looking through the holes in the bottom of the pot. Do not repot it for about 3 to 6 months unless you see the roots coming out of the bottom of the pot. Now, the other one, give me the purple begonia, Jamie. I love this one. This is one of my most precious plants. This is so gorgeous. It is purple begonia, Rex begonia. And I sit and look at this all day long. I'm so mesmerized by it. I just adore it. Begonias have very tiny roots. They're thinner than a hair. And so you don't want to transplant this unless you see the roots coming out of the bottom of the pot, because number one, they kind of like to be a little bit snug in the pot. And number two, the roots are so tiny you might damage them. All right. And that was only $5 at Home Depot. Now yeah.
Both of them?
Uh-huh. These are 2 plants I got at Home Depot. And this one here is a croton. It is very narrow leaves in different colors. I really like it. I know that crotons are usually outside bushes in the deep, deep south, but I've never had this one. I've had the bigger ones before. So I thought, well, this is a pretty plant. It's little. I'll get it. And this one is so pretty. It is a nerve plant. You see all the little veins in it? And then part of it is pink and part of it is green and white. And it's a fenton, oh, you know me. Just don't ask me to give you these technical names. I can't do it. But anyway, I put them in this little, my Goodwill purchase, because they're small and they both fit in here together and they accentuate one another. And if you don't want to show the pot that they came in, just slip them down in something else. Don't disturb them, because they won't like it. Now, Jamie's going to take the camera over and show you what gorgeous plant. We got a Silver Bay Chinese evergreen, that one over there. Don't get too close.
This thing's so hard to use.
The Silver Bay is a plant that is very easy to come by. Pull that back some.
I mean, it on the camera is back on the screen. Now they can see your legs.
It's very easy to come by plant, because everybody loves it because it's so easy to take care of. It is such a good beginner, or if you are too busy to take a whole lot of time on plants, that one is one that you will find would work for you. I got that at Home Depot. Then the one right here, Jamie's going to show you. I got, what was it, yesterday or today, Jamie?
Today.
Today? That's a Dieffenbachia that I've never had before. It has the long leaves, whereas a Dieffenbachia normally has, where's Dieffenbachia? Is this a Dieffenbachia usually has a more broad leaf, whereas these are narrow and long. So it had several broken leaves and stems, and it was half price. The miracle on that one is, this morning I was sitting watching videos, and the Lord said, go to the store. And I said, why, Lord? Which store? What am I supposed to buy? He didn't answer me. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to buy anything. Maybe somebody down at the store is in need of encouragement. Or maybe there's somebody going to come knocking on my door. He don't want me here when that happens. I had no clue. So I told Jamie, I said, Jamie, the Lord I said, Jamie, don't think I'm crazy. But the Lord just told me to go to the store. He said, well, I'll be finished in just a minute. And within 5 minutes, we were on our way. And he said, what store? I said, I don't know. He didn't tell me. So I said, well, let's just start at Lowe's. We don't have many stores here to choose from. It's either Lowe's or Walmart. That's it. I said, let's start at Lowe's because that's first on the way. And then right next door to Lowe's is Walmart. So we went into Lowe's, and I said, well, we're right here at the plants. Let's look at the plants. So I bought that croton and nerve plant, and I'll get to that in a minute. And Jamie, take this over to the pothos, and look how long it is already, how thick. What's the name of that one?
Marble Queen Pothos.
Yeah, Marble Queen Pothos. That's too close.
No, Grandma, this thing zooms out, remember?
Anyway, so I got that one, and we were getting ready to leave, and Jamie saw this Dieffenbachia. He said, oh, look at this. And he said, oh, wait a minute, there's a lot of broken leaves on it. And I said, well, how much is it? Because that ain't going to kill the plant. He said, $26. I ain't paying $26 for a plant's got broken leaves. So we were getting ready to leave and go to the checkout with the plants I had. And Jamie saw the sign that said half price. I said, all right, now we're talking. So I got that plant. As we were going to the checkout, the Lord said, that was why I wanted you to go to the store, for this plant was half price. So you see, the Lord takes care of even the tiniest things that we want or need. But I thought that was so awesome. So that plant is now one of my special plants, that prayer plant medallion and this Dieffenbachia. They have special meaning because they were Holy Ghost led to me. So now let's go to another thing you should not do with your new house plants, and that is fertilize them. You don't know if the greenhouse they came from or the store they came from fertilized them, or when they fertilized them, or if they have a time release fertilizer in them. So I would give it a month before I fertilized a new plant. Now, if you're using a organic fertilizer like worm casting, it won't hurt it. You don't overdo it with worm casting. But if you're giving it chemical fertilizers like Miracle-Gro, I wouldn't fertilize it for at least a month. And then another thing not to do is don't propagate yet. This plant has got to get used to its new home. And if you cut it up, a lot of these plants you can divide the roots, because there'll be several plants in one pot. You can divide them and make 3 plants with them. But you don't want to do that because they're trying to get used to their new home, and that is a big deal for a plant. I have lost plants that way. They do not travel well. So do not propagate your plant for at least 6 months or a year. The other thing is not to do is when you bring home your plant, remember what I told you. Put it in a place that will mimic its natural habitat. Remember, like this plant right here, this is a Dracaena Warnicki. Jamie, can this plant be seen?
Partially, yeah. Well,
this is a Dracaena Warnicki, and it grows to be extremely tall. I had one that was every bit of 12, 17 foot. What it does is it loses its bottom leaves, and it forms a cane. That's where the dumb cane or the corn plant comes from. Not dumb cane, I'm sorry. Corn plant comes from. But anyway, it, Janie, see this? This is where I cut off this one from way up high. It was way up there. And now I got this coming out. And I stuck this one down in the soil, and it is growing like crazy. It rooted real quick. This would grow in the bright, bright light. Whereas that prayer plant over there, the medallion, it's underneath the great big leaves of other plants down on the level of the floor, where it will get pretty good light, but not as bright as this Dracaena would get. So wherever you put it in your house, try to put it in a place where it would normally go get light in the wild. So and the humidity. And if you put it there, and it'll tell you if it doesn't like it. In a couple of weeks, you'll know. It'll show signs of limping or leaves curling, or those are different. Leaves curling could be it needs water or it needs humidity, all kinds of things. But after a couple of weeks, if you don't see any signs of it not liking it, leave it there, because it is getting used to that spot. And then if you move it, it has to get used to that spot. Now, like the Schefflera tree, that tree is such a finicky tree. You can sit it in one spot, and it can sit there for a year, however long, and say you move, or say you want to move around your living room, and you move that Schefflera tree somewhere else in the living room, but you're giving it the same light exposure, but it's just a different spot. Do you know that sucker will die on you? I had that happen. I had a Schefflera that was probably 7 foot tall and about 3 foot wide. And it sat in one spot for over a year. It was doing great. And anybody who knows me knows I cannot leave things in one spot. I have got to change around my room all the time. My husband used to say, I don't know where the bathroom is in the middle of the night anymore, because one time he got up in the middle of the night and I had changed around the bedroom that day, and he went into the closet thinking he was going into the bathroom. He got so mad at me, but I can't help it. Well, anyway, so this plant, this Schefflera, was in that one spot for about a year, and I changed the living room around and moved it, but I made sure that it got the same light exposure as where it was. Nope, it didn't like it, and I lost every leaf. So the moral of the story is, once you put a plant in its place and in the place that it likes, leave it there. Let's see, I think that was the only don't do. Oh, watering. The Home Depot, they had upset me so bad. They drowned their plants. So when you get a plant, say at a big box store, take the nursery pot out of the cover pot, pour out the water that's left. We had that much water in the bottom of that cover pot, and every one of their plants were like that. They are going to drown. They're going to get wet feet. So be sure and pour out that water, and don't water it until it's completely and utterly dry the first time. The reason for that is, if those roots got a little bit too wet, if you let the soil dry really good all the way through to the bottom, that gives those roots a chance to dry some too. And then water it well, but not like they did. But don't water it when you first bring it home unless you put your water meter in it first and it says it's dry. A lot of places don't take good care of the plants and they are dry. A lot of them, like Home Depot, just drowns them. So I think that's it. Have I shown all my new plants that we got the last 2 days?
I believe so.
Okay, well, this has been a blessing. I did not pay for any of these. And no, I didn't walk out of the store with them without paying for them.
You would too, if you forgot you had them. We put them in the backpack, so you would have forgotten them.
Well, what? As I told y'all on Bedtime Bible Chat that day, one of the viewers sent me a check and asked me to please buy me something that I would never be able to buy otherwise. And I told her, I said, well, you know, it's going to be a house plant. Well, it was not just a house plant. I got lucky and found sales galore. And all those little ones were $5. That one was half price.
That one was at $5 off, so it was $20.
Huh?
That one was $25 normally. You got $5 off.
Mm-hmm. And the most expensive one was that Pothos. I forget how much that was.
I think it was $25.
So she paid for all of them. I didn't have to, and I was obeying her. She asked me to do that, and of course, I've got to spend the money the way they want me to.
The way you would have spent it anyways.
I wasn't complaining, mind you. Okay. Well, I hope that some of this information helps any beginner out there. Don't be too quick to repot your new plants. That is the most important one. So just take this information and hope it helps you. Well, guys, y'all have a great weekend, and I'll see you next Saturday. Bye-bye.